Okay, here is my outside air conditioning unit. Okay. Problem we're having, when you turn on the air conditioner, the motor wouldn't turn, and it would get hot. And I have this rod. To make it turn, I'd have to come out here and spin the blade like this. Okay, it got leaves on it, but it ain't nothing. I gotta pull this thing apart every now and then, clean the leaves off the bottom. So anyway, I thought it was the motor. I thought it was the motor. It's an old air conditioner, as you can see. I thought it was this motor that was getting in a bind. So I changed the motor out probably a year ago, and it still was doing it. So the capacitor, come to find out the capacitors are going out. I'll show you how we fix that. Okay. So right now the capacitor is working. Well, I changed it. And I'm going to kick the air conditioner on and you'll see the fan comes on right away. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the air conditioner. The wife's in there turning it on. See? Kick right off. Okay, we'll shut it off. Notice this little tape, this blue tape we have right here. That was when the capacitor wasn't working. And I'd have to come out here and spin the blade. And I could look and see if the leaves were blowing. Okay, but since I changed the capacitor, we don't have that problem anymore. Now what you do is if your unit's overheating, let it cool totally down. Okay? Then come back out, turn it on, and you'll hear it humming, buzzing. Take the fan and flip it in this direction. Get something that you can put down in there and flip it. And if it kicks off, it's your capacitor. If it starts turning good, no problem, it's a capacitor. But every time the air conditioner stops, it's going to overheat when the capacitor doesn't kick on. So next we're going to change the capacitor. I'll show you how I changed the capacitor. The air conditioning fan was not kicking on. And I've had this happen before. What I do is I change this capacitor right here. The small capacitor. And I get all the numbers off of it. What you want to do is you want to kill all the breakers, because if you touch that, it'll shock you. It's bad. So turn off all the breakers. I have outside breaker for this unit, and also have an inside breaker. Okay. So I turn off all breakers. Then I take a screwdriver and jump it across the terminals to make sure there's no fire. Capacitor can hold fire and hold electricity, I should say. And just unplug it, and I'll plug the new one in. This was the new one. Let's see. There's two capacitors there. So I have both of them. And these capacitors are about $14, I think. Here's the old ones. I wrote bad on it. The one I just took off. And now it's working great. The bottom capacitor does the same thing. It's for the fan also. And here's a new one that I bought that I didn't need. But they're like 14 bucks. You call a service man out to come do that. You're looking at, he'll charge you, you're looking at $200 or $300, at least 300 bucks. And most of the time your air conditioning goes out, it's a capacitor. Okay? And, anyway, this thing has a quick start capacitor on it. So it doesn't burn as much electricity when it kicks off. I bought that because of my generators, and I put all that on there. I have another video showing that. Ended up changing the switch. The switch was bad. I put a new switch. I got to video on all that stuff. And but anyway, the fan motor's not turning. It's worth 12 bucks, 15 bucks for a capacitor before you spend 300 bucks for a serviceman to come out. Now don't fool with this unless you know what you're doing, or you think you know what you're doing. But this thing will electrocute you. All these terminals down here are hot. Everything's hot. 220 volt, I believe. It's enough to fry you, so make sure you do that. So I have another video of repairing the heater on this outside unit, the furnace. That's in another video. But anyway, a lot of times you can change your capacitor. Now this is my downstairs unit. Upstairs unit's sitting over there. I put a quick start on that one. The capacitor went out on that one too. So I ended up putting a quick start on that one. That's a 2-ton unit. And this downstairs one this is also a 2-turn unit. The whole unit is outside. And it's ducted into the house through ductwork for AC and heat. But all the air conditioners, they all but the same. So save yourself a few bucks. You might want to try the capacitor. What you want to do is on the capacitor, you want to look, and you're going to make sure. See if I can put this up here. Okay, on this particular capacitor, okay, the numbers you're looking at, okay, well, the ID number of your old capacitor, if it's the same brand. Yeah, this is 370, 440 volt, 5 plus minus 5%. Those are and 30 is the numbers that you're looking at. So hope that it helps. Just get the numbers off your old capacitor and do it. And I've seen servicemen from my neighbor, came out to my neighbor, changed the, didn't have the capacitor on his truck. So he took the capacitor, came back, she had to wait a week in the hot summertime. We're down here in the deep south. He got the capacitor, he come back, he charged her like $35 for the capacitor, which you can get them for 14 bucks. And then the whole service was like 325, 30 bucks for him to change just one capacitor. Now these are piggyback capacitors. Now you might just have one, chances are you're going to have one capacitor for your fan, and the other capacitor is for the compressor. This is for the fan motor. All right, I hope this has helped. Call a serviceman, get some electrician or somebody that knows what they're doing if you're afraid to pull with it, because it can fry you.